You are standing in a room full of people. Someone says something, loudly, deliberately, with the clear intention that others should hear it. Perhaps it is a dismissal of your work, a mockery of your position, a reminder of a failure you had hoped was forgotten. The laughter, or the silence, or the sideways glances, they all arrive at once. And in that moment, something inside you lurches, not just embarrassment, something deeper, a sudden, violent awareness that your dignity is being handled by someone else in public, and you cannot stop it. This is one of the oldest wounds a human being can suffer. And it is one the Stoics thought about with extraordinary care. Cleanthes, who succeeded Zeno as head of the Stoic school in Athens, was a man who understood what it meant to be underestimated. He worked as a water carrier by night to fund his philosophical studies by day. He was mocked for the slowness of his learning. He was called by some a donkey, meaning that he was strong enough to carry the load, but too dull to understand it. He did not retaliate. He did not collapse. He continued. And in continuing, he became one of the most important figures in the entire Stoic tradition. His life was itself a teaching, long before he wrote a single word. The Stoics used many images to describe the inner life under pressure. One of the most useful is the compass, the navigator's instrument that holds its direction regardless of the weather around it. The needle does not argue with the storm. It does not perform steadiness for an audience. It simply points because that is its nature. The Stoics believed that a well-ordered character functions in precisely this way, not rigid, not cold, but oriented, directed, impossible to permanently divert. Here are 5 teachings drawn from that tradition. Teaching 1. The compass does not argue with the storm. The first instinct when publicly humiliated is to respond immediately, to defend, to explain, to retaliate. This instinct is entirely understandable, and it is almost always a mistake. The Stoics drew a careful distinction between what is within our control and what is not. The words someone else has spoken in a crowded room are already beyond your reach. They have been said. The crowd has heard them. No immediate response will unsay them. What remains within your control is your next action, and the quality of that action will be remembered long after the original insult has faded. A compass does not correct the wind, it holds its heading. The most powerful thing you can do in the moment of public humiliation is to refuse to be defined by it in real time. Breathe, hold your bearing. The storm will pass. Your direction will remain. Teaching 2. Anger is a second wound. The Stoics were not naive about anger. They understood it as a natural first response to perceived injustice. But they were also clear that acting from anger compounds the original injury. When you lash out in public after being humiliated, you do not reclaim your dignity. You surrender more of it. You hand the person who wounded you a second victory. Anger, in the Stoic view, is a passion that distorts judgment. It narrows the field of vision to the immediate slight and blinds you to the longer picture. The person who insulted you may have done so from their own fear, their own smallness, their own need for an audience. Anger does not see this. Anger sees only the wound. The Stoic practice is not to suppress anger entirely. That is neither possible nor desirable. But to observe it, name it, and decline to be governed by. You can feel the heat without walking into the fire. Teaching 3. Shame lives where virtue is absent. This is perhaps the most counterintuitive of the Stoic teachings on humiliation. The Stoics held that genuine shame, the kind that corrodes the soul, is not caused by what others say about you. It is caused by what you actually do. Musonius Rufus, one of the great Stoic teachers, argued that the shame belongs not to the person who is insulted, but to the person who behaves insultingly. If you have acted with integrity, with honesty, with care for others, then no public mockery can reach the place where real shame lives. The crowd's opinion is an external thing. Your character is not. When someone humiliates you in public, the first question worth asking is not what they think of you, but whether you have anything genuine to be ashamed of. If the answer is no, then what they have done is reveal something about themselves, not about you. Teaching 4. The audience does not decide your worth. One of the most corrosive effects of public humiliation is the sudden, overwhelming sense that the watching crowd has become the jury of your value as a person. The Stoics rejected this entirely. They were deeply skeptical of popular opinion, not out of arrogance, but out of a clear-eyed understanding that crowds are moved by spectacle, not by truth. The approval of an audience is an indifferent thing, in the technical Stoic sense. It is neither good nor bad in itself, and it has no bearing on your actual worth. What matters, in the Stoic framework, is whether you are living in accordance with reason and virtue. That judgment cannot be made by a room full of people who do not know your interior life. Cleanthes was called a donkey. He became a philosopher whose hymn to the bee, Cosmos, is still read today. The audience was wrong. The audience is often wrong. Teaching 5. Silence is not surrender. There is a particular kind of courage that looks, from the outside, like passivity. It is the courage of the person who does not respond to a public insult with a public counterattack, who does not seek immediate vindication, who walks away from the room and does the quiet, unglamorous work of rebuilding their composure in private. The Stoics honored this kind of courage deeply. Silence, in the face of provocation, is not weakness. It is the refusal to let someone else set the terms of your self-expression. It is the decision to respond on your own ground, in your own time, from your own values, rather than from the reactive, wounded place that the insult was designed to reach. The compass does not announce its direction, it simply holds it. What Cleanthes understood, through years of being underestimated and mocked, is that the inner life is a territory that no one else can occupy without your permission. Public humiliation is real. The pain of it is real. The social consequences can be real. But the citadel, the core of who you are, what you value, how you choose to act, that remains yours. It cannot be taken by a cruel word in a crowded room. It can only be abandoned from within. The work, then, is not to become impervious to pain. It is to become so well acquainted with your own values that when the storm arrives, you know exactly where your needle points. If this moved you, comment "The Citadel holds" below. It is our sign that you carry the philosophy with you. Subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.